Hi guys, welcome back to Hoarder's Heart. On this episode, we're going to be going over 50 things that I have stopped hoarding. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by and checking me out. I'm a hoarder, but a recovering one at that. And on this channel, I share my mental struggles, the thought processes, and all the emotions to why hoarders are so attached to all this stuff. Now, I have noticed during my recovery, which has been the past 3 years, that there are certain things that I used to have a stronghold on holding onto, and now I feel comfortable letting them go with ease. So I wanted to share what those 50 things are that I have stopped hoarding during my recovery. Now, the first thing on the list that I stopped hoarding was paper, especially printer paper. I used to hoard this and save it all the time. Why? Because I could write my notes on it, my to-do list on it. I could draw on it. My kids could draw on it. And if somebody was giving away cases, which they did, I would go and rescue it and say, I could use it. I can save it. But now we let it go. Next on the list is in the same category. It is tissue paper. I always saved the tissue paper so that I could reuse it. And that included scraps of wrapping paper. I thought surely there's a little toy I can wrap up in this, and I would save it to reuse it again. That also included the gift boxes that stores used to give you. They don't really give them out anymore. And I would hoard all this stuff because I love giving gifts to my friends, to my family. It's how I show love, creating these special gifts for them. And that's why I hoarded it, because I could reuse it and I didn't have to fill all that stuff with a landfill. But now I can recycle it. Next on the list is old bills. I really had an issue with paper, all forms of it. And I would hold on to bills that were over 5 years old. I felt the need to hold on to it in case I had to refer to it, but I really don't. I've never had to refer to an old bill over 5 years, probably not even over a year. So we let that go. Next is going to be catalogs of things I loved. I so enjoyed flipping through the pages, looking at all the fun things of stuff that I loved and imagined buying it. And what happens when you're happy? Your anxiety doesn't exist. It's a coping mechanism. So as I excitedly looked and got lost through all the stuff, I wasn't worrying about anything else. Next is going to be receipts that are over 3 months old. You can't return anything over 90 days, so there's no reason to hold on to the receipts anymore. And followed by coupons. I used to hoard stacks and stacks of coupons, and I couldn't even go through them all. And then what would happen? They would become expired, because to me it represented money, and it saved me and my family money. And I just held on to it for that security feeling. But now we recycle them. Next is going to be junk mail. And I didn't hoard it to make me feel safe in some kind of way. I kind of avoided it because going through it exhausted me. I had to make all those decisions. Do I keep it? Do I toss it? Should I recycle it? Where should it go? What should I do with it? So I just threw it in a bag and put it to the side to basically avoid it. And the same goes for magazines. I felt the same way. I could not make a decision whether to keep it or recycle it. And because it overwhelmed me, it was easier to just keep it and avoid it and try and deal with it later. Now, newspaper was a little different because I would use it. For all the holiday decor, I would wrap my breakables into the newspaper, safely put it away into the tubs during off season. But it also triggered me to hold on to all of the newspaper because it was my parents who had a newspaper subscription, not us. And it was more of a holding on to due to lack and availability of getting it. Next is going to be old packaging with the instructions, especially with electronics. Now, we bought this camera probably in 2006, 2007, and I held on tightly to it just in case I needed to refer back if I had trouble with the camera. But now we can let it go. It is over like 13 years old. Also in the paper family is packing paper. I used to hoard this. Every time something got shipped to us, like packing paper I would hoard it. Same with all of the bubble mailers. I would save it. Why? Because I used to sell stuff on eBay and Mercari. And when somebody bought something from me, I would reuse it instead of throwing it into the landfill, like this bubble wrap. So someone bought something from me, I would wrap it up in the bubble wrap and the envelopes, and I would ship it to them. It saved money for me, the seller, and also the landfill. And let's not forget the shipping boxes. No, that was a hot commodity. If I had something that I sold that was a bigger size or an odd size, I used to hold on to all of this stuff, but now I can freely let it all go. Next, I'm going to share how my creative side triggered me to hoard, because I used to hoard toilet paper rolls, and that also included paper towel rolls. Why? Because I am a creative, artistic soul, and I love looking at things that would appear to be trash and create them into something new. Like the diaper boxes. You guys have seen me transform diaper boxes into these cute organizational pieces. So I used to hoard large amounts of these so that my creativity wasn't limited. I had full access to creating as many storage boxes as I wanted, and that included diaper wipe boxes too. These little babies made great little organizational pieces for toys and crayons and all those fun little tchotchke things. And moving into the garage, another creative outlet was gardening for me, and I used to hold on to the Easter pots that still had the colorful cellophane on it. Yes, I would hold on to it, but now I feel good recycling it and letting it go. And that also includes the original plastic pots that the flowers came in, including their tags. I would reuse them every year to plant my seeds in them, and I still do, but just not an overabundance hoard of them, just what I need. And that also includes old packets of seeds. I would hoard the packets of seeds that I didn't use. But after 2 years, their expiration date, they don't grow the same. So we need to let them go, including the plastic trays that the nursery provides for you when you buy a lot of flowers. Now let's move on to toiletries, especially travel size toiletries. I used to hoard this like crazy, especially when you would get it from a hotel, like the lotion that they used to give you, and baby products. My boys are grown up, but I would still hoard these items. That also included shampoo and also shower gel. These things didn't really have an expiration date, so I used to save them in large amounts. And hand sanitizer. And yes, this did come in handy last year when there was a shortage, but I found out that there actually is an expiration date on these products. Yes, it's longer than most things, but we can let them go, especially the expired stuff. Now let's move back into the kitchen, because reusing items is very important to my heart. And something I used to hoard was the medicine cups. I used to hoard and reuse these for multiple reasons, but now we recycle them. I don't need to hoard them anymore. And that included the ham or any type of food storage bins, because guess what? It was free Tupperware, right? I didn't have to buy Tupperware. I just had to reuse the plastic containers for my leftovers, or even gifting cookies and things like that. But again, it's time to recycle them. I also used to hoard baby food jars. Again, this is recycle, crafty, wrapped up into one thing, because I used to recreate the baby food jars into these adorable little craft projects. And I can still create that new decor from baby jars, because I have friends with babies, and I can ask them to save me a few empty jars so I can create a new project. Same with the coffee cans. There's a lot of crafty potential behind a coffee can, and hoarding stems from lack mentality, that I'm not going to be able to find any more coffee cans and I got to store it all away. But the truth is that there is somebody else in my neighborhood who can save me an empty coffee can. And next on the list is plastic bags. I hoarded these for many, many reasons. To either reuse the plastic bag from something I was selling on Facebook Marketplace or giving on my town's giving page, or I saw a story where you could make mats, plastic mats for the homeless. So I hoarded a plethora of them, but never learned how to actually make those mats. And then I wanted to start saving the environment and completely stop using plastic bags and start using the pretty canvas bags for when I went food shopping. But I caught myself starting to hoard that too because they had such pretty designs, and my intention was that the more canvas bags I have, the more I save the environment. The intention was good, but the execution was not. So now I limit how many canvas bags I have. Next shows my frugal side, because I used to hoard napkins, especially if we went out to eat. I would grab a couple extra more to take them home. We paid for it, right? Which also included those Twistie Ties that you get at the grocery store, because I could use them for a multiple amount of reasons, like creating my little hair piece for the thumbnail and this video. I just took this brightly colored cellophane, tied it with a twisty tie, and then clipped it into my hair as a frugal fashionista hair piece. It was an expression of myself. But I don't need to hoard the twist ties. I only needed one to make it, right? And I used to also hoard the plastic straws that fast food restaurants used to give you, but I realized how icky they were for the environment, so now we use reusable straws in our household. And I used to also hoard the ketchup packets and other condiments from fast food restaurants, and now we stopped doing that as well. And the frugal staple of them all was saving and washing your Ziploc bags to reuse for either your food or organization. But I don't need to hold on to hundreds of them, maybe just a couple. Plus, I already have reusable storage bags for my food that is easy to wash out, and I don't have to save this stuff anymore. And next on the list was pens. Even if they didn't write, I still would hoard so many pens, and that also included pencils. I hoarded hundreds of pencils. Even if the pens and pencils didn't work, I thought by God's immaculate grace, He would make them work again, and I would hold on to them. But no, they never worked again, so it was time to let them go. And that also went for the markers. I have been able to downsize my hoard of markers into this bin. Why? Because it represented creativity for my children and even myself. But now we got them contained into one bin. I used to also hoard paper notebooks. Ton of these little paper notebook pads because they were cute and they were perfect for my to-do list. Why? Because I have ADHD, and if I do not have a daily to-do list, it does not get done. And I absolutely had a office supply hoard. I loved it because I used to have so much Scotch tape and also glue. Why? It's part of the creativity and being productive. So I thought the more I had it, the more productive and creative I was. And let's not forget the paper clips, especially if they were brightly colored. Why? Because it represented the potential of me being an organized person and not being so messy and unorganized. And the last two things are probably my biggest accomplishment, which is kids' toys, and especially the little tchotchke things as well. I have gotten a lot better at letting go of my children's toys, and that is monumental in my healing in hoarding disorder because I had such a strong hold on it. But I am feeling better. I do feel like I can let go of the little things and not completely lose the memory of my children being little. And my greatest accomplishment in healing in my hoarding is kids' clothes. I was able to let go of all of these children's clothes in one shot. And that was impossible for me a few years ago. It really was. I could only let go of a few at a time, but we kept at it. And now we did it. We let go of all of this stuff, and I don't feel the need to hold on to these older kids' clothes anymore. There you have it. That was 50 things that I stopped hoarding during my recovery on this healing journey of learning how to let go, of learning how to not attach so much meaning and so much of myself to these physical items. I've been doing this for about 3 years, but I have seen a difference. Those things I used to have a stronghold on, I couldn't let them go. And now we're letting them go. We're recycling them. And I'm here to tell you that you can heal in your hoarding. It's going to take a little bit, and that's okay, because my favorite saying is a journey of 1,000 miles starts with just one step. And that's what we're doing. And I know that we can add more to that list too, like my clothes, and hopefully more Halloween and like holiday decor, and also like Christmas stuff and the crafts. Those are things that I would like to add to my list, and we will get there. So I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you learned a lot, and I'm just grateful for you all. So everyone, have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.